Welcome to this very first episode of Navid Talks, the official podcast of the Navid project. We are very thrilled to embark on this journey with you. In a world where business as usual is often interrupted by geopolitical shifts, resource scarcity, and global health crisis, the vulnerability of our supply chains has been laid bare. The Navid project, formerly known as Regenerative, Resilient, Smart Manufacturing Networks, was born from a singular mission: to build the resilience of European manufacturing using the most advanced tools at our disposal: AI, digital twins, and the Internet of Things. This initiative is funded by the European Commission under the Horizon Europe program. Specifically, we operate under the Horizon CL4 2023 Twin Transition 0107 topic, as part of the research and innovation actions overseen by the European Health and Digital Executive Agency, AIDIMME. Navid is powered by a diverse consortium of 15 experts, partners across Europe, bringing together academia, technology centers, and industry leaders. In Spain, we have AIDIMME, which is a coordinator, Mediterranean Wood Factory, DHL Supply Chain Spain, and UNSIS. In Germany, we have Scientific Academy for Service Technology, Fraunhofer, Budatec, and Blue Bridge Solutions. In France, INSA Lyon and its affiliated entity INSA Valor. Italy, Synesis and Santa Ripley. In Ireland, F-Success Innovation, Estonia Policy Lab, and in United Kingdom, Brunel University, London. Our goal with this podcast is simple but ambitious. We are here to raise awareness of our research, attract the brightest mind to our mission, and engage with policymakers and industry leaders to ensure that European manufacturing doesn't just survive disruptions. It evolves through them. Today's episode is titled Understanding Supply Chains Resilience, Challenges and Role of Smart Manufacturing. We are breaking down the why and the how of our work. We'll explore what resilience actually means in 2026 and how a smart manufacturing network can become self-orchestrating ecosystem. To help us break this down, we have an incredible panel of experts. Amparo Roca de Togores is an experienced project manager at AIDIMME and the coordinator of Navid project. With over 20 years of managing high-impact European initiatives and serving as an expert evaluator for the European Commission, Amparo is a strategic lead ensuring its ambitious network of industrial partners stays synchronized and successful. Navid Sahebjamnia is a senior lecturer at Brunel University, London, and the leading expert in resilient operations and business continuity for the Navid project. With a deep background in multi-objectives decision support, Navid provides the analytical framework needed to ensure modern supply chains can withstand and recover from global disruptions. Dirk Buße is a co-founder and CEO of budatec, leading pilot number 3 of Navid project to achieve supply chains resilience in the semiconductor industry. An engineer with decades of expertise in automation, Dirk is now the forefront of building more agile, tech-driven manufacturing ecosystem. Jorge is the CEO of Medwood and the lead of pilot number 1 of Navid project, focused on automation and supply chain resilience in the furniture sector. With over 25 years of experience in logistics and operation management, Jorge brings a lifetime and hands-on expertise in manufacturing to the challenge of building more agile industrial networks. To start us off, let's look at the big picture. Amparo, the floor is yours to discuss the general overview of the global objectives of Navid to make supply chains more agile and resilient.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the first episode of our podcast on supply chain resilience. My name is Amparo, and I am the Navid project coordinator. But today the real focus it is not me, but something bigger. It's about how we rethink resilience in an uncertain world. That's the Navid project. Navid is an ambitious research and innovation project that is funded by the AIDIMME. The project was designed to transform the way European manufacturers approach global risk management, turning it from a haphazard process into a proactive and intelligent one. So before diving into the project itself, I think we must talk about resilience. In the context of a Navid project, resilience is not just the ability to bounce back from a crisis, but it is also the capacity to deal with adversity, recover quickly, withstand shocks, and adapt and evolve continuously in response to disruptions that arise over time. Now, if resilience sounds straightforward, the reality is quite different because most companies usually only react to crises after they have happened, which is not ideal for risk management. Many organizations don't have a clear picture of their operations, and the information they handle moves in a straight line, meaning that problems the organizations face in one area normally cause problems elsewhere. We aim to change this by developing a digital-first model for the future of the European industry. And this reactive approach is especially problematic in today's context. Why? Well, European manufacturers are navigating what we could describe as a perfect storm of disruptions, including the lingering effects of the pandemics or the impacts of geopolitical instability. We also have the growing scarcity of critical resources and even energy blackouts, such as the one we had in Spain in April 2025. Our supply chains have become structurally vulnerable due to decades of searching for low-cost production, resulting in dangerous geographic concentration of suppliers. Many organizations are unaware of which suppliers or routes are at risk until it is too late. This linearity means that if one node fails, it creates a cascade of inefficiency across the entire network. So, how do we move from vulnerability to resilience? Well, this is exactly where Navid comes in. The project is driving a shift from traditional smart factory to a smart manufacturing network, or what we call SMN. An SMN is a connected, self-orchestrated ecosystem linked to end-to-end with programmable manufacturing as a service capabilities. At the center of this new ecosystem, there's what we call the Intelligent Manufacturing Custodian, the IMC. This IMC is a centralized digital hub that integrates artificial intelligence, machine learning, and big data to provide complete visibility and control over supply chain operations. It doesn't just monitor, it coordinates production and logistics in real time, acting as a proactive decision-making brain for the entire network. So the obvious question is, how do we achieve this? Well, we built this system on three core digital pillars. The first one is digital twins. We create virtual representations of physical assets, products, and entire supply networks. These twins allow us to run stress tests to identify failure points before they happen, and calculates critical metrics like times to survive, time to recover. The second pillar is advanced analytics. The IMC also employs predictive and prescriptive analytics and identifies hidden correlations in prediction data to anticipate disruptions, and then uses AI algorithms to recommend the optimal action plan to mitigate them. And finally, smart data management ties everything together and overcomes the problem of data silos. We use a federated data approach. This means that information from suppliers, inventories, and logistics is kept together in one place, making the whole chain transparent. Now, it is important to clarify something. The intelligent manufacturing custodian does not replace humans. The goal is not to replace human experts, but to provide personalized guidance to supply chain managers, ensuring that decisions in the smart manufacturing network always remain human-led. So at a certain point of the project, we realized that resilience could not stop at the factory floor. And we began asking ourselves, what if we adopt a broader strategy? What if we could better understand and even anticipate dependencies, market dynamics, and geopolitical shifts through strategic market analysis? That change in thinking allows us to look beyond individual production sites and consider the entire ecosystem in which manufacturers operate. So we used the Hope On initiative from the Horizon program to welcome a new partner that introduced smart advisors that use global data sources like the UN Comtrade and the GTELT media monitoring system. These tools allow manufacturers to identify critical import dependencies so they can diversify their suppliers and explore new export opportunities to diversify their markets. And this is essential for achieving European strategic autonomy and technological leadership. But resilience is not only about surviving disruptions. It is also about building a sustainable industry that will last for years. The project is also a driver of the twin transition, both digital and green. Navid uses smart manufacturing to make the most of resources, and the intelligent manufacturing custodian helps manufacturers reduce waste, improve energy efficiency, and use circular economy models where waste is reduced or recycled rather than discarded. And of course, this is not just a vision on paper. We have clear and measurable goals. By the end of the project, we aim to achieve a 30% of improvement in the identification of potential risks, a 20% reduction in the time it takes to recover full functionality after a disruption, a 15% improvement in on-time delivery rates, and even a 10% reduction in greenhouse emissions and energy consumption. In short, Navid is about rethinking how European industry prepares for uncertainty, because in this world, resilience is no longer optional. It is strategic.
Thank you, Amparo. It's clear that agility isn't just about speed, it's about intelligence and use. But to use it, you have to know what you're facing. Navid, walk us through risk detection and development of the supply chain disruption diagnosis and risk framework.
In today's global economy, manufacturing networks are more interconnected and more vulnerable than ever before. We have all seen headlines, natural disaster, geopolitical issues, and we had a pandemic in 2019, COVID-19, and all of them cause supplier failures, long delay or canceled orders, and companies had a lot of issues in their network and in their business. So what we can see, we have manufacturing companies who had a lot of challenges in the past. They had the shortcomings to effectively and efficiently respond to the risk and disruptions. So one of the issues that we can see for the manufacturing companies is they don't have a proactive plan, and they are not well ready and prepared to standing against risk and disruptions in the companies. So what happens? They wait until risk and disruptions hit the shop floors, and then try to find the solutions to respond to them. And definitely this is not only a stressful time for them, but also they need to pay more, and those plans are more expensive for the companies. So for the manufacturers in Europe who try to show themselves as technological leaders, manufacturer for example, around the world, it's very important to have a clear and effective plans for responding to the risk and disruptions. These days, not only them under pressure of producer from, for example, Asia, but also they are under pressure of risk and disruptions. We can see many products coming from East these days with cheaper price, and put pressure on the European manufacturers. So it's very important for the European manufacturers to be ready for different types of risk and disruptions, not at the company's level, but also at the whole manufacturing network levels. to be able to lead the global markets, the Europe markets. The European manufacturers need to have effective resilience strategy. In the Narrate project, during the last 2 years, we tried to provide different tools for the manufacturing companies, specifically for small and medium-sized manufacturers in Europe. What we did, the Brunel team in the Narrate project specifically focused on two different tools. One is risk assessments, and another one is resilience strategy tools. In the risk assessment, we first of all classify different risk and disruptions categories, including internal risk and disruptions and external risk and disruptions. Then we analyze the impact of data, historical data, on both resource and inventories of the companies, and develop the different measures and aggregate them to analyze the risk and disruptions. Then we develop risk and disruption metrics for the companies, where the companies can see the impact and the likelihood or frequencies of the risk and disruptions. For those risk and disruptions that on the higher level of impact and frequency, the companies need to take actions to they need to provide a plan to tackle them. And in this way, they can be ready for the risk and disruptions. Another tools that we work is resilience strategy tools. Definitely the companies cannot be ready for different type of risk and disruptions, specifically when we expand the network of the companies at the global level. It's not easy to analyze the whole risk and disruptions and their effect on the company's operations, because we are not only facing the first tier of the supplier in the network. Also, we have a supplier of the supplier and the supplier of the supplier again on the higher tier of value chain and supply chain. So it's not easy to analyze all of them back to back. And in many cases, we don't have access to the data or historical data about them. What we need to do, we try to map the manufacturing network of the companies and do different levels of analysis on the network, try to find the most vulnerable points at the first step. Then we apply different resilience strategies like diversifications, like flexibility, redundancy, and develop a new network for the companies and see which of the reconfigured network of the manufacturing is stay at higher level of resilience maturity. So this helps the companies and the companies and decision makers in the companies to know what strategies is the most effective strategies for their business. And because implementing resilience strategies maybe increase their cost. For example, finding new customer, finding new supplier, signing contract with new transportation or service. Logistics service provider companies can increase their costs. So they need to know which of these strategies or which of these plans can help them to not only improve their resilience, but also can save their resilience cost. And this is very important for the companies. So I can say in the Narrate platform as a whole, the main platform of our Narrate project, we have different tools. They work under the IMC, which Intelligent Manufacturing Custodian, which help the companies, which can help different tools to work and collaborate to provide the solutions for the manufacturing companies. We have access to different tools. The tools are interconnected. They use the outcomes of other tools and then provide the best possible solutions for the companies.
Predicting the storm before it hits, that's the dream of every logistic manager, isn't it? Now let's look into the why behind this technology. Dirk, then Jorge, tell us about the real-life turbulences that motivate you to become part of the Navid project.
Hello, everyone. I am Jorge García, CEO of Mediterranean Buße Factory. Today, I want to share why we have decided to participate as a pilot company in a European project aimed at strengthening industrial resilience and accelerating smart manufacturing. Over the past few years, we have all seen it. Storage of raw materials, sudden price spikes, logistics disruptions, and a lot of uncertainty around supply. In our sector, working with a natural material like wood, this has been very visible. Periods of scarcity, delivery delays, quality variability, and sharp increase in logistic and energy cost. But here's the point. It's not just wood. Any industry, metal, plastic, chemicals, you name it, is exposed to same turbulence. And it's not only about markets. It's also about geopolitical instability, conflicts that alter trade routes, regulatory tensions between regions, international transport issues, and global crises like the pandemic, with both entire supply chains to a halt. All of this made something crystal clear. Traditional supply models are no longer enough. We need more visibility, we need anticipation, we need better tools and make too fast, well-informed decisions. And that's where smart manufacturing comes in. By interesting technology, digitalization, and advanced data analytics, we can detect risks before they appear, simulate scenarios, optimize resources, and operate with much great flexibility. Traceability, automation, and the ability to connect data from suppliers, productions, and logistics in real time are no longer a luxury. They are essential for remaining competitive. Participating as a pilot company in the European project lets us apply those technologies in our day-to-day operation. It helps us to validate solutions that improve how we manufacture and also how we ensure the entire chain, from raw materials to final delivery, brings more stability and more predictability. What's most valuable about this project is that it doesn't focus on one material or a single sector. The tools and the models we believe are designed for complex supply chains with different materials, international suppliers, and geopolitical forces that change constantly. Thanks the project, we'll be able to anticipate logistic disruptions and react before they hit production, assess geological risk by supplier and by region, delivery supply source using real data and reliability and lead times, plan with dynamic scenarios, even when the market changes overnight, and above all, building resilience, the key industrial competitive today. Because in a world where material can become scarce, where ports can be blocked, and where international tensions can change how we operate from one day to the next. Having intelligence tools to manage the supply chain is not just an advantage, it's a necessary. This project will help us better prepared, make stronger decisions, and ensure that our operations and those of the European industry as a whole become more stable and more sustainable in the long term. Thank you for your listening.
Yes, thanks. Hello, and everybody to the first episode of this podcast. Nice idea that we can talk and discussion and to show what we are doing here at this international European project in Navid. I'm Mr. Buße. I am 50% of the owner and the CEO of the budatec company. We are located in Berlin, in Germany. We are manufacturer of semiconductor machines, equipment for the semiconductor world. And we see our rule in this project is we are a demonstrator. We are an SME company. We are not so big, but we are technology leader, but we are a small company. But we have the same risk and the same challenges as the big companies. We are working worldwide. The focus is Europe, but we are working worldwide. And that makes so complicated because we have the same problems, also the big companies. For the supply, for the stable supply chain, for the risk, for the problems of the supplier. And what we are starting here in this project now, we have a production in Berlin and we have a pre-production in Portugal. We have a pre-production in Lisboa that we have two plants. We have to organize the supply chain. We have to organize other suppliers. We have to organize and just entire production. The final assembling of the machine, it's here in Germany. And the challenges is to have in one time all parts here, and this with a low budget of money, that we have a small warehouse, that we have a stable supply chain in this production process. And that means this is very complicated for an SME as a company, enterprise company. And in the Navid project, we are working on that with the partners, with the science partners, with the other demonstrator partners, that we find solutions, that we find processes, that we find digital tools that they help us to focus on the stable supply chain, that we have a view of critical situations worldwide, of political critical situation, of pandemic, of problems with the supply. I remember on the Suez Channel, the tape was in the middle of the channel, and the supply chain from the China market stopped immediately for the Europe market. This was a big challenge for budatec. And for that we have a digital twin or digital tool that help us to looking for that before the situation it comes critical. We are working on that with these partners here from IMC, that we have a digital IMC, that we can collecting information, we can filter the information, then we can settings the information of that we have enough time to make a reaction of situations. So situations is coming. That is normal in the world, but we need tools, times, and money to have a headness to have a good reaction on this situation. And this is in the end of this Navid project. I hope we have a better situation, that we can have a faster supply chain, the stable, resistable supply chain, and then we can more focused on our real processes and the supply. And we know the supply chain is stable enough also for the future, and we can, in the end of the day, we can growing up. This is our target, that we can, from an SME for a worldwide operating company, this is our target. And the processes and the digital twins here, what we are developing in this project, help us to do this on our way. And I'm lucky that I'm a part of this project, and this is a good team. And I think we have good ideas and good results in the end of this project. Thank you.
Thank you all for all those perspectives. It's clear that while the challenges are daunting, the technology is finally catching up. We've heard about the what and the why. Now let's bring everyone together for a roundtable, shall we? I'm curious, Amparo. You mentioned making supply chains more agile. For a company that feels stuck in their current ways, what is the first big change they will see when becoming more resilient?
That's a good question. Thank you. I think the first thing they see is the light. They stop feeling they are blind, and instead of reacting once the problem appears, they begin to see risks forming in advance. They gain visibility and enable faster decisions and better coordination. Let's say shift from reacting to disruptions to actively preparing for them. I believe that's when agility really begins.
Navid, your focus on detecting risk. In simple terms, how much warning time can this AI-powered framework give a company before a disruption actually hits their factory floor?
We need to know how we can help. The Navid platform can help the companies to identify and recognize the risk. Let me a little bit explain how we deal with these situations. We have 3 different phases for responding to the risk and disruptions. First of all, in the Navid project, we look at the problems in the normal situations. We try to find the most vulnerable points before anything happened to the companies. They can understand their weaknesses, the vulnerable points in their manufacturing network, for example, which supplier, which transportation companies, and then try to improve their performance regarding the resilience. This is the one step. Another point that we need to understand is we have specific tools which work in the whole Navid platform. The responsibility of this tool is to identify the risk and disruptions and emit the warning signal for the companies that, for example, a risk might happen in next days, next weeks, or even next hours. So this is a very helpful approach because, first of all, we help the companies to prepare them. Then we send a signal, warning signal to them, hours, days, or even weeks before these disruptions happen. And it's not only for the first year of the supplier or those companies who are in direct contact with the companies. Also, we try to analyze the news or different trends and patterns for the company, the supplier of the suppliers. So it's not only about the first year or those who are in direct contact with the companies. So this improves the trust between the Navid platform and the companies, and help them to find the risk and be ready to react to the risk as soon as possible. The next stage is when the risk and disruption happen. So we provide replanning, reconfigurations plans, which help the companies to resume and restore their operations and back to the normal situation as soon as possible, with less stress and with less cost, because they already have been prepared for responding to the risk and disruptions. They've been informed before risk and disruptions happen, and now they have a plan to respond to risk. So these 3 steps would be actually have been covered in the platform, and we can help the companies to effectively react to the risk and disruptions.
Dirk and Jorge, how does the Navid project help a manager stay calm instead of scrambling for answers.
Okay, narrate help me stay calm because it gives me clear, real-time information instead of running around trying to fix things or making rushed decisions. I have tools that show me what need happens before it actually happens, risks, delays, supply chain issues, all backed by data, artificial intelligence, and digital twins. When you have that full picture, making decisions without stress becomes much easier. Okay.
Yes, okay. I agree with Amparo and Jorge. For budatec, it's also in the Narrate project. It's the information, the collecting, the filtered, the information and the supply chain. But we have the situation, we have an on-time production. That means we need the parts immediately if we are ordered. And we have a little bit a blind flight. If we are ordered parts that we needed for the production, and then we are waiting in the process for the parts, and then we want to have the parts in time. And this was now the problem that we are a little bit nervous that the parts are coming in time. And in the Narrate project, we are looking for a process, or we are looking for tools that we have helpful tooling. Yes, for that we have a good tool that we can collecting the information or more information on time for our process, production process. This is our target in the Narrate project. That we are more calm and not so nervous in the production.
If you had to describe the future of European manufacturing in just one word, what will it be? And does Narrate project get us there?
At this stage, in general, I would say uncertainty, because we have too many things that are coming from many places. And with a Narrate, or with what we intend to do in Narrate, I think is not certainty, but at least clarity. Clarity is what I said before, that you are not blind anymore. You at least have a light at the end of the tunnel, and you have tools to go and move beyond where you are at this moment.
And for budatec is the situation, we have two production plants in the European community. One, it's in Berlin, it's the main factory. This is the final assembling for the machines. And we have a pre-production in Portugal, near Lisbon. And we have to organize the pre-production in time over the countries bordered, that we get the parts immediately or in time from the pre-production in the store to the final assembling in Berlin. And this is a European project, also for the SME, for a small company. And that is also good for the Narrate project, that we are working as a demonstrator how we can handle the organization in the European community.
Yes, I agree with Amparo and Dirk. And for me, if I had to describe the future of the European manufacturing industry in just of one word, it will be resilient. And yes, Narrate absolutely help us to move toward that future. It gives us reliable data, help us anticipate risk, and allows us to make decisions with foreign instead of the improvisations. In the other word, it takes us exactly in that direction.
That brings us to the end of this very episode. A huge thank you to Amparo, Navid, Dirk, and Jorge for the insights today. We're just getting started. If you're an industry professional, an academic, or a policymaker interested in the future of European resilience, we invite you to follow Narrate project as we test these technologies in real-world production environments. Next time on Narrate Talks, we will be exploring the brain of the operation. Our next episode is titled Self-Adaptation Manufacturing Networks, Concept and Enabled Technologies. We'll see how digital twins and advanced robotics allow our networking to self-heal and adapt its services between partners in real time. Until then, stay resilient.